Ahoy folks, it's Craigo from Pure Xbox, and today I am joined by the lovely Alex Olney from Nintendo Life.
You only flipping am, whoa!
Today we are talking about my top 5 games of 2024. Games that I just played a boat ton of in 2024. And we're just going to talk about it. Does that sound good?
That sounds good to me. We've done something very similar on Nintendo Life for a number of years now. And now it's time for old Craigie boy here to have a pop at it. So I must know, as an Xbox fan myself, what are your top 5 games?
Well, thank you for asking. I would love to tell you my top 5 games. Funnily enough, 4 out of the 5 are from 2024. So that's kind of cool. But the first game that I'd like to talk about, and I'm pretty sure you're very familiar with this one, is a little card game called Batro.
Not Halo?
No, not Halo. Not this time, at least. It's one of the best games I've probably played in a very long time. It's sucked up so many hours of my life across pretty much every device I have, which is all Xboxes, because that's what an Xbox is now. It's my phone, it's my PC, it's my actual Xbox console, but...
Your Nintendo Switch, your
exactly.
oven, your microwave, your car.
Yeah, your Tamagotchi from 1992. It's quite frankly the most addictive game I've played in my entire life. Would you agree with that?
I would, and I mean, no spoilers for my video if you wanted to check that out, but it's in my top 5 as well from this year. Oh, it's incredible. It's superb. I don't really think I've ever had a game hook me quite as much as this. I'm over that sort of initial hook now, but when I first got it, I genuinely struggled to put it down. In like I don't want to say in a medical sense, but in a medical sense.
It was one of my favorite videos that you put out this year, and you were so addicted to Batro that you were just like, I've got to make videos on it because it's the only thing I can think about.
Yeah, I couldn't focus on my work, so I thought, well, I suppose I can make it my work to a degree.
For anybody, I suppose, who hasn't actually played Batro, the whole point of it is it's not poker. It's not poker by any stretch. It just
but it
uses
is rated 18 in the UK.
I know. I like the tweet that the local thunk put out where it's just like, yeah, this apparently isn't 18, but games like FIFA where you can actually gamble as a child are not 18. But anyway, moving on. This is a card game with roguelike elements, and basically you use these special Joker cards, which all come with unique abilities that you can like stack together and combo. You use a regular deck of cards to basically tally up scores to be a blind score, which is what they call the rounds in this game. And it's become part of my like going to bed routine almost. It's like I can't naturally switch off.
I couldn't do it before bed. I'd never go to sleep.
I mean, that's part of the problem. That's probably why I'm tired so much. But
I do tend to play it on my phone when I wake up in the morning nowadays. I've got it on 3 different platforms now.
Is it phone, Switch, and Xbox, or is it PC?
Oh no, Steam. So Steam Deck,
yeah,
and any other computer. I've played it on my Mac. It's Mac compatible, so you know it's got to be good.
You can play it anywhere. One of my next games, you can't really play anywhere. Well, you couldn't play it on an Xbox until this year, in fact, and it's one of these games that I've picked up so many times, and each time for some reason an excuse came around where I would drop it and I'd move on to something else. But this year I stuck with it, and that game is Death Stranding.
Oh,
now
yeah.
What a game Death Stranding is. Have you played it? Have you finished it?
I have technically played it, but I've only picked up bits and pieces. My wife has mostly played it, and I watched her play pretty much the whole thing. The soundtrack, Low Roar, it's become a staple in our house now.
Phenomenal.
It's a game where when you describe it to someone, it sounds honestly like the most tedious and dull thing you can imagine, but it's just the atmosphere. It's the sort of like the world that you're living in, the genuine little micro challenges you're constantly having to overcome. It's strangely endearing, strangely addictive. And to be honest, I need to give myself an excuse to play through it all. Got it on PS4, don't need to buy it again, but still very tempted to get it on Xbox.
the excuse for me was that it came out on Xbox. I'm silly. I bought it at so many different places. I got it on the PS4 when it originally launched. I got the collector's edition, which turned up with this quite harrowing little BB doll. It was like adorable, but just kind of freaky if you had zero context. So I got it on PS4. I got it on PS5 when it got its director's cut. I own it on Epic Games Store, and I got it for Xbox when it launched not that long ago. A lot of people would describe it as a delivery simulator or a walking simulator. Is that what you'd say people would equate it to?
I would say largely, yeah. It's kind of you're a postman with an attitude.
Yeah, exactly. You are Sam Porter Bridges, which is God, what's his name? It's escaped. Norman Reedus.
I was going to say, you said his name, and then I realized you meant the actor.
Yeah, Norman Reedus. You basically play as him, and you deliver packages to different depots across a fractured US. Like, to try and boil it down to just the fact that it's a delivery simulator, a walking simulator, is to completely disregard everything else about it. I would describe Death Stranding as an experience. Like you say, you got the music is now a staple of your household because it's just like the tone and the atmosphere and everything about it that makes this one of the most genuinely, I would say, relaxing, which engrossing. Yeah, it's really hard to describe just what like happy, calm state it can put you in, and then there's these horrible little BTs that try and like grab you and pull you into this gunky underworld. But like, it can be stressful, but for the most part, one of the most chilled out games I've played this year. And I played over 120 hours on the Xbox One alone. And obviously I played more hours on the other consoles when that came out. But one of the best games I've ever played in my entire life. It's definitely one of my all-time favorites.
I definitely don't disagree with you when it comes to calling it like a walking simulator or a postal worker simulator, because that isn't inaccurate. But at the same time, I do feel like it is so difficult to describe, and that is the best way to kind of come up with it. But it's kind of like calling Metal Gear Solid a game about hide and seek.
That's a great way to put it. I guess to keep on the theme of like a calm or more than an experience than just a game, at least it was for me, is my next choice. And it's special to me because it was the first game that I actually ever reviewed in my entire life. My first game that I reviewed for pure Xbox. And that game is Harold Halibut.
Oh, yeah. I'd forgotten about that game. It came up recently in conversation with someone. Was it you? I just happened to be talking to a friend of mine last night. A couple of friends, and it came up. I hadn't thought about it since it came out, so it's bizarre that it's come up 2 days in a row, but I was very intrigued by it when I saw it. But I've got to be honest, I don't really know anything about it.
It's definitely a game of a lot of stuff and nothing at the same time. But it follows this young man. He's in his 20s, but he looks like he's 60, which is just charming in itself. Ship crash lands on this alien planet. It gets submerged in this ocean, and this is a colony ship. They're trying to find a new planet for this spaceship of people to inhabit and keep the human species alive. And what I really loved about it was that it connected with me on a lot of levels of figuring out who you are, who I am in a grand sense of my life, and what I'm doing with my life, what I've achieved, and that it's okay just being a regular guy, a content creator on YouTube, and
the most standard of jobs.
Yeah, whenever I explain this job to someone, they're always like, "Oh, so you work for Xbox?" And I'm like, "No." And they're like, "Oh, can you get me an Xbox?" And I'm like, "No." Harold Halibut is hands down one of the prettiest games that I've ever played. Its story isn't amazing. A lot of people like Steven from Push Square, he reviewed it at the same time as me, and I tried to chat to him about it and to see how he felt about the game. And I loved it, and he didn't resonate with it as well.
I've got to be honest, I'm a real sucker for an art style, and a good one at that. And I will actually, I'm in so many ways, I'm like, I like to look at things as sort of like clearly from as many different angles as possible, get a really balanced overview. But sometimes if a game just looks really pretty and it doesn't like fall apart, it gets an awful lot of bonus points from me. I'm a real sucker for that sort of thing.
Yeah, I love a good looking game. I would say I'm quite vain when it comes to my games. I usually lead by what it looks like. If I'm going to stick around, it's got to be fun. Speaking of fun games, I guess we can move on to my next one.
Whoa.
It's been over a decade or two since I've had as much fun as I've had playing a game like Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. Oh, I had to put it in. I just had to. It's phenomenal. It's one of my favorite ever games. Have you played it yourself?
I've not. I played the original to completion back on the 360, but I haven't been able to get... Well, I say I haven't been able to. I'm sure I could have if I tried a tiny bit, but I'm not used to paying for games anymore. YouTuber problems. But no, I mean, I've followed 40k and Games Workshop broadly for getting on for, well, over, I would say now, 20 years. And whilst I don't do the miniatures now anymore, the last time I did it was, I kind of had like a bit of a spurt of doing orcs in university.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't touched it since, but I've got a lot of affinity. I really love the world and stuff like that. And although I personally find Space Marines to be one of the less interesting armies, just because
I hear that
it's
a lot.
a big, strong man. It goes deep in that, obviously, but I always found Chaos to be a more interesting side, an edgier side, which, you know, it's the Shadow the Hedgehog to the, well, not quite Sonic the Hedgehog, but I don't know where I'm going with this analogy.
You're in the new Sonic film, aren't you?
I am in the new Sonic film.
Who is it you play?
I play Shadow the Hedgehog. Yeah, I did. I got Keanu to do all of the promotional stuff, you know.
Yeah, I think he did the bodysuit as well. So you're the voice and he's the body, you know. But anyway, back to
Yeah, there's no CG in that.
No, it's just Keanu Reeves. In Space Marine,
he plays every character.
There is no Shadow in Space Marine 2, but there is a lot of...
Well, there is if you turn on
fun
ray tracing. Boom!
Oh, hey! And honestly, it's one of the best looking games on Xbox. Like, hands down, I don't know how they made it look as good as it did, running it... I think it runs at 30 on quality mode, which is fine by me with the nature of the game, but it also looks really good on the Series S. And, anyway... You play as Titus, this big, like you say, burly lad that's basically just like, point me in direction and I'll mash skull. You send me over there, I'll kill Bug.
Is he played by a gruff Sean Bean?
He's played by Sean Bean before he dies inevitably. I played this for review. I played this a lot by myself. I think I've got over 160 hours in it across Xbox and PC, and laughing and shouting, "Did you see that?" to whoever I'm playing with. It's just, there's an abundance of that because you're always doing something cool. It's more than just like hacking and slashing. There's a lot of strategic reaction based gameplay as well, and I really can't promote how much fun this is with friends. So if you do end up picking it up, then I'm down. I'm just saying, I'm down.
Oh, it's tempting. No, who knows? Maybe Father Christmas will bring it to me, bring me it for Christmas. We'll just have to wait and see.
I've bought this for 2 people just so I could play it with them. I'm sure they weren't even like, I want to play it. I was just like, here, take it, because we're going to spend tonight going against the Tyranids, and it's going to be great, and you're going to have so much fun. And we play it once, I laugh a lot, and then they don't play it with me again. Which is a great advertisement for you playing with me. But I guess we could move on to the last game. This is the 5th game, my top 5 games of 2024. And oddly enough, it had a little bit of controversy around it based on some decisions that the developers made. But I never saw the problem with it. And the game is Dragon's Dogma 2. Ooh, that sounds like another game you haven't touched.
Yeah. How could you tell from my tone of ooh?
Ooh, he must be telling me something interesting. It is interesting. It's super interesting. The story is ridiculous. It follows this character known as the Arisen, which is just this customizable hero that you can role play as, and they are intrinsically linked to a big, angry, inevitable dragon that is so overpowered that everybody knows that the dragon's going to come and destroy everybody. But for some reason, this dragon chooses a person and becomes like their equal. They become sparring partners. It's like Sonic and Shadow. It's like Keanu and Alex. And basically you spend the whole game with these, they're called pawns, which are these AI...
You stole the... I was going to make a pawn joke and now you ruined it.
What
I was
is
going to
it?
say, oh, so you're just a pawn in their scheme? It's like the only thing I know about Dragon's Dogma 2.
Yeah, I'm an absolute porn addict. And the pawns are AI, but they're so good that it genuinely feels like playing with another player, except for they listen to everything that you want them to do. And what's great about it is they follow by example. Whatever you do, they learn, they pick up, and they start to do that too.
Oh, that's not good for me. There's going to be a lot of teabagging.
They do that. If you do it, they will do it.
That even happens in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Like, they're trained on data, which includes pressing down repeatedly.
Oh, no.
Doesn't happen often, but it's a moment when it does.
That reminds me of Halo Infinite when you stick the bots on the highest difficulty, one tapping you in the head, and they run over and they start teabagging. Like, they legitimately do it. What I love about it is my playstyle, for instance, is if I'm fighting this gigantic Cyclops, that if any of my companions goes down, I'd run in, I'd grab that companion, I would chuck that companion to safety, and when it's safe, I'd just res them. And it was really cool to watch as I was fighting a dragon, and one of my extra companions went down, and my pawn, without a hesitation, just ran into danger headfirst, picked up this downed character, chucked him away, and then started picking him up. And I was like, I felt like a proud dad. It was so good. It's one of those grand RPGs that Dragon's Dogma 2 has somehow become like an underrated Game of the Year contender, even though we've kind of all decided what our Game of the Years are. But on any other year, it easily could have got Game of the Year. But yeah, that's my 5 games. That's my top 5 games. We've got Warhammer 40k, Space Marine 2, Death Stranding, Harold Halibut, Alatro, which, spoiler alert, you should go over to Nintendo Life and watch Alex's video, as well as Xeon's and Felix's, which is already out now, and Dragon's Dogma 2. They're all really good games, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a great list. I can't say that I've played all of those games because I could, but I would be lying. But just as a little fun bonus, I have been playing Armored Core 6 recently. That's good.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. That's one of those games that I got and I never picked up, so I can touche you with. I haven't played that one yet.
Well, I can go into a 4-minute explanation if you like.
If only it was in your top 5 games of 2024, then they'd be able to watch it on Nintendo Life.
Well, I mean, it's an Xbox game. Well, Xbox
Yeah.
and everything else, but not Switch, sadly. So it's not on my list. You're gonna have to go over and see what it is in order to find out what it is.
I'll put a link in the description so you can just click if you are still here at this point in the video. But Alex, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
That's a wrap on 2024. I hope you all have a lovely Christmas, and thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.